Today, Justin Trudeau faced more questions about the departure of his campaign co-chair. Evan Dyer has the details on that.
It involves what Justin Trudeau has been referring to as a senior volunteer, actually a little more than that, the co-chair of the national campaign, Dan Gagnier, who is a lobbyist of quite long standing here in Ottawa. And this blew up on Monday when he sent an email to TransCanada, the pipeline company behind the Energy East pipeline plan, basically a pitch on how they might lobby a new government, including a new Liberal minority government. That appeared to cross a line, although the Liberal Party didn't acknowledge that at first. At first, they tried to hang on to Dan Gagnier, but he's now left the campaign. It's still creating some waves, though, and it's bringing up, of course, some of the echoes of older Liberal scandals involving influence and lobbying, and his opponents have not hesitated to jump on it and remind everyone of the sponsorship scandal. So Justin Trudeau had to talk about this today when he appeared in Mississauga. Most of the questions were about that. Let's have a look at some of what he had to say.
There are rules and regulations overseeing political campaigns, and we have been very clear that we have ensured every step of the way that we have followed all those rules. And more than that, when this inappropriate email came to light, we took immediate action. And Mr. Gagnier acknowledged took responsibility for his actions and stepped away from the campaign.
So, in fact, the action was not quite as immediate as that clip would imply. At first, the Liberals didn't say that this was just another mean-spirited personal attack. Then they started to say, well, okay, it doesn't look great, so he's going to step aside. Only yesterday did they acknowledge that it was totally inappropriate. That's where we are now. But, of course, the story hasn't gone away. It's not clear how much this is going to hurt them. It could hurt them in Quebec. We're late in the campaign, so it may not get that much traction before people actually vote. And, of course, millions of people have already voted. But Quebec is very sensitive to this kind of thing. The Liberals are really just now sort of emerging from under a cloud in that province, and this potentially could set them back.
Okay, well, the other leaders aren't missing an opportunity, if there is an opportunity here, that's for sure.
No, not at all. And in fact, we saw both of them today in Quebec. Tom Mulcair in Lac Mégantic, where he talked about the rail disaster that occurred there. We saw Stephen Harper in Quebec City, and they had a remarkably similar line when they were asked about this. One of the reasons they were asked is because we know that lobbyists work in both NDP and Conservative campaigns as well. They're not, as far as we know, currently engaged in any lobbying activities or any activities of the kind Dan Gagnier was engaged in, but we were asking them about those people in their own campaigns, and both were at pains to say, you know, we're not doing the same thing. This is a Liberal problem. And the language that they used was remarkably similar. Let's just have a look at that.
No campaign that I know of, other than the Liberal campaign, has people who have been on the campaign bus, on the campaign plane, in the campaign war room, actively working for and on behalf of a private company during the campaign. No other campaign has been in that situation, and I have seen no suggestion that there has been that in any other campaign other than the Liberal campaign.
There is no other party in this election that is accused of the things the Liberal Party and Mr. Gagnier have done. That is for them to answer to. It is the old culture of the sponsorship scandal. It's not about anybody else. It's about the Liberal Party.
So obviously, both of them very keen to keep this scandal confined where it began, the Liberal Party. Now, it must be said that in the case of the Conservatives, they're pushing this storyline a lot less than the NDP because this does drag in some of their own people, including Bruce Carson, who was Dan Gagnier's lobbyist of choice to approach government officials. And of course, Bruce Carson is not only Stephen Harper's former chief of staff, he's also currently on trial here in Ottawa for influence peddling in another lobbying case. So it probably helps the NDP quite a bit more than it helps the Conservatives.
All right, Evan, where are the leaders headed to next?
Well, okay, let's start with Stephen Harper. We saw him there in Quebec City. He's off to Fredericton this evening, and we'll do a little bit of campaigning tomorrow in New Brunswick. But then, of course, in the evening, he's heading to that rally in Toronto where he's going to appear with the Ford brothers. And Rob Ford today is already tweeting out invitations to that. Those individuals, as the Prime Minister has been calling them. Tom Mulcair, we saw him in Lac Mégantic today. That's the riding that was held by Christian Paradis, the Conservative, but who's no longer running. That's a pickup that they're hoping to make there. And he's heading later today to Alberta to bask a little bit in the reflected glory of Rachel Notley. This will be the first time that she's been so front and center in helping the NDP campaign. Perhaps she probably could have expended a little bit more political capital from their point of view in helping them on the federal stage than she has, but perhaps making up for that now in the last days. Justin Trudeau today is in Ontario, very much a GTA day for him, and today he'll be heading to Richmond Hill and Markham, the areas that were hit by some of the advertising accusing the Liberals of wanting to set up brothels in neighbourhoods, that advertising in Punjabi and Chinese language newspapers. So there's a social conservative base of that in that ethnic community there that he perhaps wants to talk to, because those are the kinds of 905 area ridings that the Liberals have been keen to pick up and take out of the Conservative column.
Evan Dyer in Ottawa.